Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the second day of the International Workshop on Research Methodology and Writing Skills, jointly organized by Lavender Literary Club, Cape Comorin Trust, Malaysian Industrial Relations and Human Resource Associations, Malaysia. So today we have two speakers. The first speaker is Dr. Joachim, Assistant Professor of English and Dean of Arts, St. Xavier's College. And the second speaker today is Professor Dr. Ramakrishna, Professor and Head R.D. Stanley College of Engineering and Technology for Women. For today's session, we have Dr. S. Aloysius Albert to be our moderator for today. And Dr. S. Aloysius Albert is an Assistant Professor of English and Dean of Students at St. Xavier's College, Palamcote. He has to his credit BA Philosophy, Theology, Sociology and English, MA English and Theology, MPhil English and PhD in English. He has published more than 32 research articles in the national and international journals, edited 6 books, and organized 3 national seminars. He specialized in the African language and interested in exploring ancient wisdom and its relevance to the modern world. He is well versed in Tamil, English, Hindi, Bhojpuri, Latin, and German languages. He was a member of the academic audit team at St. Joseph's College, Cuddalore. He has received Lavender Award 2021 for his outstanding contributions to research, sharing, teaching, and research. We are very happy to have you among us, sir. Handing the session over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, welcome to the second day of this International Conference on Research Methodology. And we have the first speaker of the day, Dr. Joachim, from the Department of English at St. Xavier's College, Palamcote in Tamil Nadu. Okay. To say a few words about Dr. Joachim, he's a versatile personality, not only in teaching and research, but also communication. Okay, a soft skill trainer, and he has been, appointed as a dean of arts, and then he does his work excellently well. Okay, and I have to record this. He has guided 4 PhDs, okay, and all of them are completed within the same month and within the stipulated time, 3 years. Okay, and I really find people, completing within 3 years all the 4 candidates that he has already. So that's really a great of this person, Joachim. And number of articles, number of research papers he has published is enormous. Even book called Technical English, number 1 and number 2, 2 books he has already published. And he has got vast experience because he's worked almost for 13 years of experience. Okay, so much experience in soft skill, even in our college, and he seems to be a trainer in all the classes, soft skill. Okay, and he has received awards, various awards, and he's a good orator. Okay, because he goes for a lot of debates, and as far as in a school age, he's received more than 50 prizes for his speeches. Okay, so wonderful orator, and he's an apt person to tell us something about research because he has guided 4 in the stipulated time of 3 years. Okay, that's a great success, and within the same month, all of them have completed their PhD. That's the greatness of this person called Joachim, and really we are happy to have him. And over to you, Dr. Joachim, for your sessions. Hope you enjoy the session. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Aloysius, for a very warm welcome and your kind words. So first, let me present my screen. I hope you see my screen. Please
Yes, sir.
Yes.
share in the form of the message in the chat box so that I can proceed. Do you see my screen? And so
Yeah.
please, yeah, thank you, thank you. Well, well, good evening to everyone. So here, let me introduce the topic, how to write a research article. So the important factor is, before I start, let me record my gratitude to the people who gave me this wonderful opportunity, the organizers, Lavender Literary Club, and other people who are involved in it. So this is the outline of my presentation. So it will go like this. What is research? The purpose of research, characteristics of research, steps of research, approaches to research, qualitative versus quantitative research, developing theoretical base for the research, construction of a paragraph. Then at the end, I'll give a few exercises. Then there will be the concluding part. So this is the plan of my presentation today. This is the common sign when people do research. Of course, a few questions we have to ask. If we want to be very successful in our research, we have to go for the questions like who, what, where, when, why, how. So these are the questions we have to raise when we do research. Of course, if you are able to answer these questions, whatever may be your research will be very systematic. You will give the output in a better way. Then the third picture here in the right side, someone sitting on the book. Of course, so for research, you have to refer to a lot of books. So the books that you refer is bigger than you as a personality. And the last one, it is something here, the fourth one. This picture you cannot avoid. So very often at one point we are struck regarding our research and we are unable to proceed with the research. So this is the time we are glued to the computer and unable to speak anything, write anything. So we have everything in our mind, but we are not able to produce anything. So now, based on this, let me proceed. So what is research? Research is an attitude of inquiry. So I make a humble request to the organizers and participants. If you have any query, so just you can raise your voice, you can intimate me so that immediately I can respond to that. Otherwise, reserve all your questions till the end so that I can just answer your queries at the end. Well, what is research? It is an attitude of inquiry. So, before we start buying anything, so every time we refer to the price, we refer to the warranty, and we just check whether the product that we are going to purchase is worthy of the money that we pay. So what happens? So here we do small research. Even if we want to purchase a mobile, we check for the latest features. We check for the money offer. So this is a kind of inquiry. This inquiring attitude is needed for research. Then research is an attempt to elicit facts. Of course, here what happens? So we have certain things in mind. We do a lot of research, we read books, we collect data, we compare them. So what is the end of that research? We elicit some facts. So we discover facts. Of course, the facts are already hidden, especially in the qualitative research. The facts are hidden there. So we go there and discover those facts. The next one is, it is a systematic and scholarly application of the scientific method. See, just like that, we refer to this and that, and we collect some data and write something. That cannot be the research. There should be a scientific method. Scientific method in the sense, when you follow a method. So if the citation should be there. So if someone else do the same research, then that individual also should get the same output. So provided that person follows the same research methodology that you followed. So it should be scientific. It should be repeated over the period of time. Another important factor is research is a state of mind. So it is not simply reading books and writing something. So here you nurture the scientific spirit in you. Over the period of time, you become immersed in the research and your mind itself becomes one with research. Afterwards, whatever you happens to see, so your author will appear in front of you. So whatever you read, so you will try to apply those facts into the research. That is the reason why it is said it is a state of mind. For example, so to have a small thing about what is research, if you swing a coin, either a tail or a head, anything may come. So one or two times for taking a decision, some people do it. That is different. But if you want to do serious research about, okay, what is the probability of so having a tail or head if you swing a coin? If you want to come to a conclusion, you fix a time, 100 times. 100 times you swing, mostly the percentage will be between 50, 50 or 40 is to 60. Because that is the nature of research. So if you do something repeatedly in the same method, that is called research. I hope you get this point. So these are the qualities of the research. The next one, what is the need for research? So here,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
Can you please repeat this example of coin? Means
Yes,
what you
yes.
want to verify?
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Here, for example, so you have the coin. So normally before the commencement of any game, they swing the coin. The probability is either head or tail. So that is the normal probability. At the same time, so once and twice if you swing, it is not research. So the research means you have to swing the same coin. So you at home, you can do it. So you can swing the coin most probably. So the ratio of the possibility of getting head or tail will be either surprisingly 50-50 or in the worst case, it will be 40:60 because that is the nature. You swing the coin, so it can be either head or tail. So in most probably, so it will ensure either, even in the worst case, 40:60, 60 time there is a head, 40 time tail, or vice versa, because that is the nature of research. If you repeat something again and again over a period of time, you will get the same result. That's why I said it is an state of mind. It is just an attitude of inquiry. I hope I have conveyed my message. Let me
Okay, sir.
proceed with yeah. What is the need for research? Why do we take academic research? First one, for academic purpose. You may be working in a college or school. So if you complete your research, so it is another feather in your cap, and you will get a lot of recognition, and you may climb up in your professional cadre. The next one, employment. For some people, especially the beginners who have just completed their post graduation. Now UGC in India has changed the rules. So now getting PhD becomes mandatory to get employment. So we just proceed with the research. Then another category, scientific research. The very purpose of research is inventing something new. It may be a new methodology, It may be the invention of new products. So the thing is, lot of experimental research is going on there. Then what is the characteristics of research? So I hope this group consists of the people from humanities and science. So in general, what are the characteristics of research? So regarding research, the first objective is gathering new knowledge, whether it is qualitative research or a quantitative research. So that will be gathering new knowledge. Second one, discovery of new principles. Of course, at the end of the research, we gain or we just highlight or we find out new principles. So that are already available. Then this is the research. So where we employ reliable data gathering. For example, even in English literature. So we have two types of research. So qualitative research and quantitative research. If you do research based on books, for example, you choose novels, poetry, drama, or any kind of literature. If you do research, that is qualitative research. Then next one, quantitative research. All the scientific researches are based on quantitative research. In English literature, for example, if someone wants to do research on ELT, so you have to prepare a questionnaire and you have to collect data and you have to analyze it and present. So this research is called quantitative research. So for quantitative research, whatever may be the discipline, especially commerce, economics, and other social sciences, they have this data gathering. So if you want to ensure your research is specific and to the point, your data gathering should be reliable. Reliable in the sense, for example, I belong to a particular area in Tamil Nadu, India. So I want to check the knowledge level in English in Tirunelveli area. So that is the native district. So here, what you have to do, you have to prepare a question paper and you have to supply it to the people in and around there in all the schools and colleges. So that is the right method. Sometimes some researchers, instead of going to the field directly, so in one part, so they just collect data naturally, but afterwards they try to manipulate, then that becomes a cooked up data. Naturally, the true result will not reflect in the output. So if it is a research, you have to go for reliable data gathering if it is a quantitative research. If it is a qualitative research, you have to refer to a lot of books and you have to collect information and you have to just note down everything, especially the sources. Those sources should be acknowledged properly if you want to make your research in a very authentic, objective way. Then you should have logical and objective. Your research should be very logical and objective oriented. Objective, there are two terms. So being subjective in research and being objective in your research. The expected thing is you have to be objective. That means a researcher should stand away from the research problem. So the other side, what is subjective research? For example, when a researcher allows himself or herself to be influenced by the things, to be influenced by the personal prejudices, then the research becomes subjective. For example, normally in literature viva voce, there would be a question like this: why did you choose this particular author? Most of the researchers used to reply, he is my favorite author or she is my favorite author. Let me tell you, that is terribly wrong. That research is subjective. Because when you read the books of your favorite author, the mistakes committed by those authors or the perspective of the author will influence you directly because you are enjoying that author already. Whereas the right methodology would be, you should choose an author to whom you do not have any biased opinion, either favoritism or non-favoritism. Then only you can stand away from that research problem. Then your research will be objective. Let me give you one more example. So whenever there is an election, people used to, especially people from media, they used to collect data from the people, or which party will come to power, or whom are you going to vote. So when a person is involved in such a research, it is also a data gathering, it is also a quantitative research. When a person is involved in research like this, if the person has some liking for one political party or hatred for another political party, definitely I would say that will influence the research. Definitely that research is subjective, not objective. Of course, recent times all parties own their own media channels, and they project as if their party alone will win. So that is a different thing which we need not give a serious thought. Then a research is hypothesis oriented. Hypothesis oriented in the sense, at the beginning we should fix an idea. Actually, there are two important things: hypothesis and thesis statement. So I request all the researchers, especially who are in the process of writing their thesis, are going to register for a PhD, then you can get benefited out of this. What is a hypothesis and what is a thesis statement? So at the beginning of the research, when you have some sampling, when you have primary knowledge about a writer or your research, you make an incomplete statement. So that is a hypothesis. So your research will be like this. So hypothesis is a statement made by the researcher at the beginning of the research. So in the process of research, either this hypothesis will be proved or disproved. So that will be known only at the end of the research. After the research, based on your research, you make a single statement in which you summarize your entire thesis. That statement is called thesis statement. Let me repeat. Hypothesis is the formulation of idea based on which you make a statement at the beginning of the research. It may be incomplete, it may be wrong, or it may be right. The process of research, either you will prove that hypothesis is right or wrong, and at the end, based on your true research, you will make a statement, research statement. So that is called thesis statement. So that sums up your entire research. So I hope you get the difference between hypothesis and thesis statement. Then organizing data in quantitative and qualitative form. For example, when you collect data for your research or when you read a lot of materials, it is very important to present which should be presented at the beginning, which should be in the second, which should be at the end. So the thing is, so the normal sentence formation should be, or the formation of the thesis should be the introduction, body, end. In the body, so you will have lot of your own ideas. Then another important characteristics of research is patience and persistence. At the beginning, I showed one picture in which someone was keeping their hands on the head, depressed. So that is the thing very common with the researchers. So probably some of you should have faced this experience. At the beginning, with all the enthusiasm, with due respect to the guide, so people will be very energetic. When the time passes, first year, second year, third year, so slowly they will find a kind of distance from the guide, from the subject, from the research itself. Dear friends, if you are a pursuing researcher, make sure you have to understand ups and downs and appreciation and depression that is part and parcel of research writing. The people who withstand these pressures, so the people who persist, they will complete the research on time. So the people who give more importance to their emotions, For example, when you submit a paper to your research guide, the research guide may not be happy about what you have written. So in that case, if you become too emotional, probably you may be a rank holder in your PG. So probably you might have been recognized as the best student in the college. But when the researcher guide says, okay, this is the wrong statement you have made, this is the wrong language, something like that. If you become emotional, definitely your progress in research will stop there. So you need patience. You have to go back to your writing and analyze truly. Then you should be ready to rectify whatever you have committed as mistake. So patience and persistence are very important to complete your research on time. Then careful generalizations and conclusion, which means after doing the research, especially in qualitative research like literature and humanities, you should not make any sweeping statement, because you have to prove. So you, based on your research, should have found something, but that need not be relevant, that need not be applicable to someone else who lives in Africa. So your generalizations and conclusions to be specific. At the same time, you should not think or say, since I have found this should be common to all. You should not say like that. So you should very carefully word your research in such a way that based on this research, this output has come. So this is common to both qualitative and quantitative research. Right. Then let me introduce the different steps involved in research. So probably you may be at different stages of your research. So now let me tell you the right steps to be followed to do your research successfully. First, selection of a problem. So problem in the sense, so you need a basic idea to do your research. You need something to do research. You cannot do research in the air. You cannot do research without any research problem. For example, if you are a literature student, you need to choose an author to do research. If you are a person from commerce or economics, then you need to fix a problem. Okay, this is the social problem. So on this particular problem, I'm going to do research. Like that, you have to choose a research problem which can be studied systematically. The next one, you have to raise a lot of questions during the selection of the problem. On what basis you have chosen this research problem? So is it worthy of doing research? Am I the right person to do the research? For example, a person who belongs to English literature cannot do research in psychology, right? Pure psychology. You can apply psychology to as a tool to analyze a literary piece. You cannot do research in commerce. That is not possible. So first you have to choose your research area in such a way that is related to you, so in which you have some theoretical footing. Next, formulation of the research problem. Of course, all people might have considered so many topics before finalizing the topic. So you should have identified at least a few topics, that is research problem. You should have rejected a few. Then after consulting some books and people, after formulating that research title, you should have approached your research guide. So the research guide should have given some input, and that person should have modified. Nowadays in India, we have the process of doctoral committee meeting. Then with all the finalization of the topics and chapters, the DC committee members will come. They will change the topic and chapters. So these things are possible. So formulation of research, so that research idea will undergo several processes which will help people to sharpen and to polish the research title. Then the title of the research. Once you formulate, identify the research problem, polish the research idea, then the title of the research comes. Remember, dear researchers, if you finalize your title in the right possible way, you are halfway through in your research, I would say. Because many times people, they have a research title and their research goes in another direction. At the end, paying some fine to the university, they change the title. So that is interesting. So instead of that, for example, if you want to go get into a bus, you have to ask the conductor for a ticket to which place you want to go. So if you go and ask, give me any ticket, so that person will send you out. Similarly, so it is like research is like going in a ship or vehicle. So you need a sense of direction. So that direction will be aptly given by the research title. Then statement of the problem. So this is the hypothesis I have explained already. Then define the problem in all possible way. Then your actual research begins. Your actual research has several other parts also. Then before giving the approaches to research, let me give you this input regarding the actual research. Many researchers used to ask, sir, with which chapter should I begin? Should I begin from introduction, or should I start writing the main chapters? This is the normal question raised by the people across different disciplines. From my experience, let me tell you this fact. Two ways are available. So there is either you can begin from writing the introductory chapter. Otherwise, you can start writing the main chapter. Let me tell you the both possibilities, advantages and disadvantages. If you begin the research from the introduction part, that is the right method first, I would say, because so the introduction includes the general introduction about your research, then your survey of literature, that is you will refer to already the existing research. Then you will propose your title. Then you will just explain that particular title. Then you will introduce the theories that you are going to apply. You will introduce the works chosen. Then you will explain the chapterization. Then by this time you will get the sufficient input about your title and chapterization. Then your main chapter will progress without any problem. This is the systematic way of a step-by-step approach to research writing. The
Sir,
other
can
step,
you,
yeah,
sir, can you please show the previous one slide once again?
it is the steps of research, ma'am.
Yes,
The
yes,
last,
yes, sir.
all
Yes,
right,
sir.
yeah, fine. Well, dear friends, there are two ways of approaching the research here. Number one, beginning the research writing from introduction, main chapters, conclusion. Number two, start writing the main chapter and main chapter 1, 2, 3, if needed 4, conclusion, then coming to first chapter. Both ways are accepted. At the same time, I recommend strongly the first step. So that is beginning from the introduction, because the introductory chapter consists of the general survey of literature. Then the author, for example, if you are doing research in American literature, first you will introduce what is literature. Second, you will just introduce American literature. Then introduce the famous authors of American literature. Then you will fix the chosen author in American literature, right? Then afterwards, the existing research in the chosen author. Probably if you have chosen one author, let me take Salman Rushdie, the Indian author. So hundreds of people should have done research on Salman Rushdie. So you will just quote all the research one by one. At least not all, but similar kind of, okay, he is concentrating on political themes, then war themes, sociological themes like that. So you will present the review of literature. This is called review of literature. Afterwards, you will just introduce your topic and explain it and establish how your research is new. Dear researchers, so this is the most important part in the introduction. So very strongly you establish your research is new, so that you can, just like that, you cannot say your research is new. So you have to introduce the other existing research, then you have to finalize. Then you have to give the chosen works for this research, then as a brief summary and the research tools that you are going to apply, then chapterization, then that's all. So chapterization, in which you will explain what are the further details you can find, how many chapters, each chapter's titles, and what you can expect in each chapter in a brief way. So 40 to 50 pages it may occupy. So introduction is the best part, because once you complete the introductory part with all the requirement, so your mind will be oriented with the theories that you are going to use, and you will have the sense of direction, so that the research will progress very smoothly. So here the another part, there is a beginning from the main chapter. Sometimes what happens, some researchers in their MPhil and PG, they should have chosen a particular author or research topic. They should have done some research because of compulsion of time. Within 3 to 6 months, you have to complete the research. Somehow you should have managed and submitted for the examination. You might have got good grades, right? But when you think of just expanding your research at the PhD level, so this is the time in which you have already the sufficient input for your introduction. So this time you need not spend more time on introduction, because already, so it is assumed, provided you know that, then you can straight away go for chapterization with the approval of your guide. Then you can begin the main chapters again. So the possibility is, at the PhD level, research writing is more serious than the PG level. So you may face some blocks. So I won't recommend it, but people are going for it. So sometimes people come out with success, because once they complete the main chapters, they know what to write in the introduction, they proceed. But that is not the right way, I would suggest. I hope I have answered the question raised by the participant there. Now, yeah, thank you. Now let me introduce the two approaches to research. One is longitudinal approach. Another one is cross-sectional approach. It is an interesting thing to note. For example, let me explain these two ideas from literature point of view. So you have taken Margaret Atwood, the Canadian writer, award-winning author, for your research. For example, if you take one particular work for your PhD research or any kind of research, for example, surfacing. So if you take one work, then that is called cross-sectional research. Cross-sectional approach to research. At the same time, so if you have taken all the works written by a particular author, so the chosen author, Margaret Atwood, so all the novels or all the works written by her, then that is called longitudinal approach. Longitudinal approach means A to Z analysis of something, or some writers, or a particular writer. Cross-sectional approach means you choose one research problem or one book from the given author and doing the research. Mostly survey method can be followed for cross-sectional approach. Then another one, we have field setting research or laboratory research. Of course, the English literature students or any humanities people, so some people, so they confine themselves to library and books, they complete their research. But science people, they have to go to laboratory, they have to collect samples and do experiments and find out the values, and they go for the actual research. So that kind of research is also available. Then this one already I explained at the beginning. So qualitative versus quantitative research. Humanities subjects mostly go for that is a qualitative research. Qualitative, that is, it is an analysis part. For example, an English literature student just reads a few books, do research and publish. That is qualitative research. Quantitative research deals with numbers. So like ELT research, science research, even in humanities. So the research based on data collection can be called as quantitative research. Almost 100% of science research is based on quantitative research, because we'll do some experiment, record the values, compare them, and find out a solution for that. That is qualitative research. Then, of course, especially those who are doing qualitative research should know the difference between summarization versus research article. So, what is summary and what is an analytical writing? See, if you read a book and say what is what available, then it is a summary, right? I hope you get my point. If you read something and present what is what as found in that work, that is summarization. So many researchers, especially at the beginning stage, they become a prey to this part of summarization. And what is the true research article? So the same book that is read, if it is having a strong theoretical base, if it is analyzed like why that happened, how it happened, how it could have happened, whether it is right or wrong, what is your perspective, what is the perspective of others, if you include these details, that is an analytical research article or writing. Let me repeat. So you read a book or you read something. So you ask a lot of questions. At the beginning, I said who, what, where, how. So why that happened, how that happened. So is it right or wrong? What is the perspective of others? What is the perspective of the character? What is your perspective? What is the perspective of critics? What is the perspective of people who did research earlier? What is the perspective of your research? What will be the perspective of future researchers? If you give all these details, then that becomes a good research article. Dear friends, now we have come to the second part of my session. How to write in the real time. So this is the construction of a paragraph. So here, since I am from English literature, so let me give an example, and I'll ask you to do something now. Just if you have a paper and pen, and if you are attending the program with a computer or laptop, so try to reply me in the given text box. Well, what should be the method of or organization of a paragraph? I would say each paragraph in your research article or research thesis writing should convey one single idea. Let me repeat. Each paragraph of your research writing, it may be either an article or thesis, should convey only one idea. That idea should be placed at the top of the paragraph. The first statement, first sentence of your paragraph in a research article or thesis is called topic statement. That should summarize the entire idea to be found in the paragraph. Number one. Two, to establish that, you have to cite an example from the text. It may be one line or 2 lines or more than 2 lines. Of course, the literature students should know. If you quote less than 4 lines, it should be in running sentence. If you quote more than 4 lines, then it should be indented. So that should be an indented paragraph for quotation. If it is a running quote, so after you have to use double quote, then it should be followed by, that is brackets, in which page number and abbreviation of the work should be there, followed by full stop. If it is an indented quote, more than 4 lines, then after the no quotation should be used. The quotation should be followed by a full stop. Then within bracket, the page number with short form of the work. So that should be the organization regarding textual line. Then the third part, interpretation of the researcher. So here, so already you have said what is the core of that particular paragraph, topic statement. Then you have cited something from the text. Then afterwards, how you approach or how do you interpret that particular given line. So that is the interpretation of the researcher. It may go up to half a page, right? So don't write more than 1 page for a paragraph. A paragraph is a paragraph, right? So it may be half page or 1 or 2/3 of the page. My humble request will be, don't go for more than 20 lines. So it will exceed to the next page. Then it won't be nice. You need not write that much lengthy paragraph for your research article. Now, dear friends, we have come to the analytical part. So this is the novel written by Keyshot. It is written by Salman Rushdie, the latest novel. 2 years back he wrote. So here one particular thing here, let me give the sample in a brief way. Here American government just is in a secret project in which it is about data of people. Then it employs people on compulsion, right? It employs people on compulsion. And here is a character who is compelled by the government to, so the chosen person is asked to advise his son, who is a software engineer, to join government force. If he is not joined, then he will be punished. So that is the story. So here, so when the convincing process is going on, one FBI agent talks to the character like this. You know, great deal now. Some would say too much. But we are the good guys. We don't arrange for people to be hit by trucks. So we'll be watching you. We are in your phone, your computer, every call, every keystroke. Don't even try to hide from us. So these are the lines found in text Keyshot written by Salman Rushdie. What happens? It is a serious threat. It is a serious threat by the government side. So here at this moment, something strikes in my mind, how writers are visionaries. Very recently, you might have come across the debates in parliament. So some opposition parties just say, the government with the help of Pegasus software is spying the people, including the opposition leaders. That is the debate. This happened 1 or 2 months back in parliament. Whereas this novel was written 2.5 years back. But this is the exact core what happened recently in India. So how literature and life is so closer. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, well, how this particular paragraph from the text can be fit into the research writing. So this is my example. Look at that. Just you can read. It is true that the scientific gadgets have cost or privacy in many ways. So the topical statement. The news of virus address attack, this and that I have explained. They have fixed the context there. Then the textual line that are given in the red that is given. Then my own interpretation, how it goes. So this illustrates that the media and the political powers that control them never respect the privacy of the people, but intrude. The trial faced by Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg for sharing the personal data of the subscribers during the last American elections cannot be ignored. So here, after the textual quote, this line is my own perspective, right? Then the last line, so I have tried to relate this research to the contemporary event. So this is how a paragraph should be organized. So first the topic statement, then so what is the main idea here? Then a textual quote followed by the researcher's interpretation, and if needed, you can relate it to the contemporary event or thing. So then your qualitative research becomes complete. Well, dear all, so here we have come to the writing part now. So I'll take 5 minutes time for it. So here, old friends could become new enemies, and traditional enemies could become your new besties or even lovers. It was no longer possible to predict the weather or the likelihood of war. Well, so this particular passage is from the same novel, Keyshot. Now, I request you to write a small paragraph or your one or two lines of your interpretation on this particular sample. So, dear all, it is the time for writing. So, I request you to share your opinion in one or two sentences in the chat box. So, I stop sharing this and share this in the chat box there, so that you can. It will be easy for you. Could
I
you
request the organizers to enable the chat.
please enable the chat box so that people can share their work, and I can also share the text here. Organizers, could you please enable the chat box? For time being, let me share the page. So, but I request the organizers to share it. I think let me show that particular page. I hope you are seeing the sample. After seeing the sample, please write one or two sentences, and or just you just type in the chat box and send, so that we can analyze its relevance to the given sample. Dear participants, maybe not more than 5 minutes. Okay, please. I think still the page is not available. So if you have chat box not enabled,
Ask the participant to share at least some of them.
yes. Then, dear participants, if you have formulated some ideas, you just unmute and you just talk to us.
Sir, may I speak out?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
To sum up, human relations are also destined, and destiny surprises, shocks, thrills, and sometimes kills.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, good. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Well, any other participant who want to share?
Show the
Yes.
screen, Professor.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
There is a thing that refer to the change of fortunes in relationship and the threatening war. Even in the last week, we have the tension between Russia and Ukraine, right? Then how the TV channels, they just dominate in the modern times. So either they make a person hero or just dump a person. So all these things happen. So you can touch on anything and you can try to interpret. Yes.
Yeah, participants, please express your views.
Okay, well, I hope that they might have given a thought. Probably
May I
researchers
add
need.
the thought, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Time changes minds and human nature, and mind may change one to divine or monster.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Actually, this is the nature of research writing. That is, we may not jump into conclusion in a quick span of time. That is one of the important aspects of research. Probably all of you prove that. So after reading the passage, you should have given a thought for it. Probably after a few minutes, the thought will be organized in a better way and you may try to express it. And before I conclude, let me give one simple thing. Research is not difficult, but it should be systematic. Please note, research is not difficult, but it is very easy if you do it in a systematic way. For example, based on the requirement of the universities, if you want to complete a research, 200 page, 3 years, 2 years minimum time. A year has got 365 days. So in the stipulated time, so you allot first 6 months entirely for reading and taking notes, even 1 year. Afterwards, per day, if you write half a page, in 1 year you should complete. You'll write 360 pages, which may be reduced in the given time. And then 200-page quality research writing, research document you can prepare. The problem is many researchers, with all the enthusiasm, they begin. They start for first few months, they completely immerse themselves in research, which is right. But later, when the distractions come in the form of family, in the form of work, in the form of other problems in life, health issues, they take a break. Let me tell you this. If you take a break after 6 months of research, if you resume your research writing after a month, you cannot start from 6 months plus the first day. No, again you will start from the first day, 0 day, because that is the nature of research. So you might have forgotten whatever you have learned or whatever you have written so far. You will begin the fresh research. That is the reason why people are not able to complete the research on time. So if you begin the research, every day do something related to your research. Either read, write, proofread, or just browse in internet, talk to someone and whatnot. If you cannot do anything on the day, at least you read what you have written so far. At least read and just find it is not good and tear it and throw it. That is also a research activity. But if you go a little bit away from your research writing, definitely that will launch you at a distance. Coming back to your research writing is very, very difficult. This is my humble request to all the researchers. Do research every day. Within 2 years or within 3 years, you can produce a quality research document up to the expected level. So I hope I answered all of your questions. If you have any question now, you can unmute and ask the questions. I'll try to answer it.